Hi everyone, I'm beaming in from Singapore. I'll see if anyone's gonna join me. It's about 7 a.m. this morning, and it's probably in the States Friday evening. So you're either coming back from work, kicking off your shoes, grabbing a cup of coffee, or grabbing a wine. Someone's in. I'll see if I can see who's with me. Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. How are you? Good to see you. How are you enjoying the course, Bonnie? Let me see if I can wave at you. I don't. Let me know whether the sound is okay. Hi, Susie. Nice to see you again. I hope everyone's enjoying the course. I'll bring you guys. I'll see if I can bring you guys in later on. Awesome. With channeling, Hi, Eileen. With the learning of channeling, it takes a bit of time to get used to actual channeling itself, but it also takes you get a lot of tools from these classes. So if you guys can keep going, that would be pretty awesome. Hey Christopher, nice to see you. Hey Kim, nice to see you too. So keep going. Channeling is a whole load of fun. I think a lot of us, even though we are channeling and we are channeling the way we are meant to be channeling, which is for our mission and for our purpose, it takes practice. Up to today, I always wonder, am I really channeling? But I know I am, because I'm getting different topics come through me, things that I don't necessarily think about. So today I thought I'd be a little bit more playful rather than write a topic and read a topic or have a topic. I'm just gonna go breezy today. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask me on the broader idea of spiritual learning, spiritual pathing, how you're going. Ask questions, and I will answer them. I won't be actually working on a topic today. I'll just see what comes through, if they want to tell you things, and also work through Q&A. I haven't done much Q&A on this site, but would love to do that, because when I do that, I am in co-creation with you, is what they're saying, and in co-creation with the audiences that are here today. So if you guys want to ask me anything, go ahead, and if they do want to say anything, I will bring that down as well. Yeah. I think, let me see if there are any questions. Hi, Susie again. I think I saw you further up. So if anyone has questions, do ask. I'm going to take this a bit more breezy. I don't have a topic with me. They're constantly talking about things they want to tell you anyway. So as I'm answering your questions, they would probably be wanting to tell you certain things in and around the topic. They're showing me in and around the topic. Yeah. If you've got any questions about, if you want to come on, love to bring you on. And try not to drop the phone when I do that. Yes. But yeah, so today is pretty breezy. No fixed topic. Q&A. If you guys have questions, love to answer them. Or if you guys want to come on and have a chat about spirituality as a topic, I would love to do that with you. Do you want to come on? Shall I bring somebody on? Does anybody want to come on with me? Or do you have any questions? I'm just shutting down my computer behind my phone. Okay. There's something that they want me to tell you now, is that as all of us are increasing in our vibration, and as you are learning to channel, there is your ego, your naughty ego will will come and try to distract you from your path, because they are worried about where you are going. The ego loves to have control, and the ego loves to it is based on certainty consciousness. And so as you're learning to channel, and as you're learning to go on your spiritual pathing, and as you're learning to let go, surrender, and let that pathing unfold for you, it makes the ego a little bit nervous. So what the ego would like to do, what the ego likes to do, and your ego is here to protect you. So be in love with your ego, but they have a certain knack of trying to reduce the risk, to control what's happening, to create certainty consciousness. And when the ego is afraid because you don't have certainty consciousness, as you are wondering how your life will unfold in the space of spirituality, your ego will start throwing things for you to be busy on, for you to be or start telling you, oh no, that path is not for you. So just constantly go within your heart, right? And listen to what your heart needs. Listen to what your heart is advising you to do, and it advises you through the emotions, right? So if you're feeling happy, you are heading towards the right path. And if you feel a little bit closed, then your higher self is saying, that is not the right path for you. But I know that they're pointing to me that this one constantly keeps us, the ego constantly keeps her busy, and keeps her away from her mission, right? So we need to be more and more discerning as to whether it is something that we're meant to do, or is the ego trying to detract you or distract you from where you're meant to be heading, right? But they're saying that it doesn't matter. It is free will. There is no enforced path for everyone, but it is an unfolding of of your creating your own peace, and your observing and learning and about the purpose you have, because all of us have come in to certain missions and purpose, and we got multiples, by the way, not just one. So just be aware that when the ego self, the avatar self, goes to places that it isn't familiar with, it will start panicking a little bit and start telling you, oh no, that's not for you, or start distracting you and trying to get you back to 3D busyness. And just so be a little bit more discerning is what they're trying to say. But they're saying that most of you are set on the right path now, right? The more you practice going internally, and the more you hear and feel and sense where your crew is telling you you're meant to go, where your inner higher self is telling you where to go, where the advisors around you, the higher vibrating advisors around you is showing you where you're meant to go. And the more you connect with that, the more clarity you have. But again, as we are all channeling and learning to channel more, you'll have these two voices, basically your ego voice from your avatar talking, and then the other voice, which is other dimensional beings or your higher self, because it's merged up there. So you'll have a constant conversation. It's kind of fun. And they want you, as in observing this conversation, to have discernment in terms of which path you will take as both of them. I call it they're having a meeting over what's best for you. Okay, so let's see if I've got some questions. Hi Joe, that's coming up. Today is going to be an easy breezy day. I thought I'll just come and do a Q&A with you guys or hang out with you guys, and see where we go. So Bonnie's asking, are you creating a retreat in Australia? I would be interested in going to it. Yes, I think I am. It has been a fascinating path for me since my awakening, and what has happened is it is based on our passion. This is what they want me to tell you. Since my awakening, I had an intuitive tell me that when I was doing a reading, there's a full-blown reading at the start of my awakening. And in that full-blown reading, she takes a photograph and then she writes notes about you, and then she talks to me about, she talks to you about what her download is. And when she took the photograph up, she said, oh my gosh, the first thing I did was I laughed and laughed and laughed, right? Because you're funny, and your guides, they're really funny. And then the second thing they said to me about you, this is her talking to me, is that this is recruitment, this is not a reading. And this was very early in my awakening, so I almost fell off my chair. I went, what do you mean by recruitment? I'm just here for reading. And I booked the reading because I didn't actually have questions in mind when I booked the reading. All I knew was she was a really good intuitive, a really good teacher. At the moment, her readings were affordable, so I thought I need to get hold of her. But I didn't have questions in my head about what to ask. I didn't have relationship questions to ask. I didn't have work questions to ask. All I wanted to do was, she was a good intuitive. So, and she said, well, your coming to me isn't a coincidence. What they are wanting you to know, they were telling me, is that this is recruitment. You are meant to be working with the other side. And again, this was so early in my awakening. And I said, what do you mean working with the other side? I've just got onto the space. I don't know enough about the space. And what she said to me was, there are two strong drivers in terms of where my spiritual pathing was meant to go. And one of them was to be teaching. And she was an online teacher, one whom I enjoy. And she said, like me, do you want to do what I'm doing? And again, I was flabbergasted. I said, I hardly know this area. How am I going to be teaching this area? And the second thing she said was, and you will also be a counselor, and you'll be coaching and counseling people along the way. And again, for me, it was a surprise. So I'm leading to the retreat side of it. So she said, and I asked them, I'm very cheeky, so I said, did I actually ask to come down to do these things, or did it just happen that I'm thinking about it? Because if I'm thinking about it, I don't want it. But if I made a promise to do this, then okay, then I might have to do it. And I said, if I made a promise and I don't do that, will they get mad? Because this is very early in my awakening. I'm asking questions like this. And she said, yes, my soul has signed up for a mission, and my soul has signed up for a mission with Stephen, and we're meant to be doing this mission together. That's number one. So again, I still have no idea what I'm doing. And then she said, well, and this is a really good advice for everyone as well. They just said, let everyone know this. If you are meant to be doing and helping the cause of helping people enlighten or ascend or teach, then you need to sit down and ask the other side what you want for your life. What are the things that will make you happy for your life? So I sat down in that year on December, and I remember the moment quite clearly. I had, as I would, a spreadsheet open, and I was writing the things that would make me happy, that they need to give me, so that I will step up and I will give them in exchange my time, my life, and in surrender of the mission that I am meant to be doing. So, and I didn't know at that point in time what I was meant to do, not even channeling. I didn't know anything about what I was meant to do. I was not connecting. I knew she said I had clairsentience and claircognizant, but they were muscles that I need to practice. So I sat down with my spreadsheet and I started writing things that would make me happy. I said, one of the first few things was that I need my family to be okay. If my family is not okay, then I will take my time, my focus off what my mission is, to look after my family, because family for me is really important. My children, Stephen, my mom, I need people to be okay. That was the first one. And then I think another one was that I need to be loved and I need to have my freedom. So I had a few elements in the spreadsheet that was that was what we would seek to be at peace. And then cheeky me wrote, I want abundance with the capital A. By that, I mean I want 20 properties. The reason why I said properties was I love the idea of decorating properties like I've done for Tasmania. I just enjoy that process. So I'm just picking things out of the air and asking, And I said, I want, by abundance, I mean 20 properties. And then I also said, because I'm a branding consultant, I said, I want a global brand that I'm known for. So again, I put that on the spreadsheet. And then I went on just writing the stuff that made me happy. The stuff that I thought, leaving the world where I have been in, which is in consulting, helping my clients, doing the marketing side of it, the research and branding side of it. I thought, if I'm going to leave this world, I want to be happy. I want part of this world to be with me. So I started writing in my spreadsheet these things that would make me happy. Purely, the things that would make me happy is simply not about the ego of having it, but it is the joy that it would put a smile on my face if I did have it, right? So I had this spreadsheet going, and as I was writing this spreadsheet, I couldn't understand why I had tears running down my eyes. It's almost saying, I'm exchanging my life, giving you my life, and this is what I need. So it was almost a surrender of sorts. So come down a few years, not knowing what I was exchanging it for. But the universe works in mysterious ways. So a few days later, I thought, it's a bit quiet. And at the time, I wasn't channeling a lot, but every now and then they do talk to me. I said, did you get my list? And I heard them say, we're divine with a capital D. It's easy peasy. So I thought, wow, that's interesting, And then I forgot all about it. So as I went through my spiritual pathing, which is to learn more, to get to know myself more, to get to know what I like in this topic area, it started to unfold step by step for me what the mission is. The mission for me is to create a Spirituality 101 course, because I am a researcher, right? And I'm able to create frameworks for my client to make things easy for people to learn, right? And to try to connect these topics so people can get clarity very quickly. Everyone goes through spiritual path thing, especially those who are just awakened, and everyone takes like a few years, and they get distracted along the way, and they forget that there is a focus they need to have, and that focus is to go within. But there's a lot of delicious topics that they want to know, but sometimes spend too much time on, and then they see it as very separate pieces. So my job, given the skills I have had in the past with corporate life, is to bring the skills in and to create these topic areas and connect them for people, right? In a way that I would like teaching. So as it unfolded, then the energy sent out about the properties I want. I saw an ad about a year and a half ago. I live in Sydney. I saw an ad in Tasmania for this beautiful 1830s property just outside Hobart. Or not just outside, it's about 50 minutes from Hobart, but 25 minutes from the airport. And the minute I saw it, I started going, oh my God, this looks beautiful. So I told Stephen, we got to go down. We got to go have a look. So we flew down. Basically, within 9 days, we bought the property. Because the minute I stepped on the balcony overlooking the beautiful view, right, I started buzzing. I just started buzzing. And of course, as one would do, we went on a Friday and we spent the weekend just going to look at properties, say, hey, maybe there are other properties that would be more right. But it kept pointing back to this property, which had no neighbors. It had sheep coming around, which is really pretty, and it's out in the rural space, right? So, another thing that I wrote in my spreadsheet was that I wanted play camps. I want to play with people that I have a lot of fun with, and I wanted to I guess because I'm really playful, I wanted to have friends around me and have fun with, right? So in the spreadsheet, all of that was written. So what seems to be unfolding for me, and as intuitives, as we are in different sort of Facebook pages, and whenever they say ask a question, I do, and or when I get a reading, I get different intuitives telling me that they see lights around the world, that I'm creating lights around the world. So again, I'm getting and hearing information about my mission from different people as well. So we bought the property in 9 days, and that is Sherwood Loves, Sherwood Loves, Tasmania. So that will be the first one. Sherwood Loves, I had seen somewhere, and I'm trying to locate it. It must be a Mandela effect, right? In the ad for this property, I thought I heard them say that they called this property Sherwood. And I so love the idea of Sherwood, because Sherwood is Robin Hood, robbing the rich to give the poor. But I had this concept as I was thinking that this should be called Sherwood Loves Tasmania. Because what we're doing is I would love to get the richness from the space of the spiritual space and spiritual teachers. I would love to bring that richness to the mainstream people who are just awakening, and I would love to help the mainstream people look at ways to support the spiritual community who in a lot of cases have dedicated their lives to the space, but may not have had the chance to build their asset base and may need a little bit of help. So I kept saying, how do I get this exchange happening? So that was the start of contemplating of how to set it up. And then there was this hunger from the moment I bought it to convert it into a retreat. So there are already 4 rooms in which can sleep about 10. It's a beautiful property. The view is amazing, right? But there was this hunger to make it more than what it was. And so there's a stable that I will be converting. So I have the drawings. Steve and I have been working on the creation of a mini retreat. So in this 1 acre, there is the stable, there's the homestead. The homestead has 4 rooms, really beautiful sandstone place that has already been done up. And then there's the stable, and the stable has, I can create 2 rooms plus a main living area. So let's say if we have people coming in, then those who are working with me will have treatment rooms, right? Healing rooms in the stable where they will sleep and they will do the healing, and my family will live in the front of the stable. And then also I'm creating different platforms so that I can put glamping in the back end of that acre. So it is unrolling that we are creating a spiritual retreat there so that I can teach this 101 course. And what fascinating thing that I'm finding out is that 20 is this big abundance number, just like 1 billion people for William. What I'm knowing is that Stephen has a property in the south of France that already has 10 rooms. So I've gone there. Steve and I have gone there. Gillen went there with Norman and William, and we went there to check the property in the south of France out. So if we have Sherwood Loves Tasmania, then we will have Sherwood Loves south of France. And I'm going to Chiang Mai with my brother after this trip in Singapore to see if we can do Sherwood Love Chiang Mai, because my brother is interested in the property. So I don't have to own all the properties. I will have an IP or intellectual property that can feed into these properties if I have friends who want to run retreats. So Bonnie, that is the long story of whether I am creating a retreat. It is a yes, and we are in the midst of putting plans in to extend it, and we will have this amazing deck that goes into this view where the sun rises. So we will have our practices on that deck, and the practices will be things like yoga, breath work, and meditation as a taster platter, so people get used to the idea of this. And beautiful Gillen will be with me. Gillen is in Melbourne, and we will be co-creating there, and Gillen is a yoga teacher. So how perfect is that? As you get onto your mission, what will happen is that people who are part of your mission and co-creators will turn up, and then William and Norma will come down. So it's going to be really fun. to be working with the people you love working with in high vibration, in a space that I love creating. And the space is eclectic. If you Google Sherwood Loves, Sally Peak is the space, you will find that property is all done up for Airbnb at the moment, but we haven't opened it out yet. We opened it up for a few months and our manager went back to Germany, so at the moment it's closed. But for the period the building works, it will be closed. By September, by my birthday next year, hopefully the mini retreat is all done up. So it is just beautiful. You get the sheep walking around the property, right? And it is, and the other thing is, I found a few things just after we bought that property is on or near a ley line. So once I saw 3 rainbows land in front of my property, and I saw glistening. I have it on tape actually, a little bit of glistening, and I know that there are energies in and around that property. So that's one. The second thing is Tasmania. Tasmania has the cleanest air and water in the world. So they have picked a space that's not so far from where I live. I live in Sydney, but I need to fly to Tasmania for this. So it is all divine, within the divine plan. And when Norma and William feel into the property, the Tasmanian property, they're going, that is the hub, and the others are the spokes. So that's where I would call HQ, right? So that's a bit about my plan, and the hope is to have branded. Sherwood Loves is a brand. So that brand, for those who want to run retreats, I will work out what the brand means for the property. The property can carry different courses, and then the Spirikins 101 course can then be franchised out for those who don't want to do who want to do healing, who want to do reading, who want to do downloading, but need a format to run a retreat. So that is the intention. Big plans. I have been pedaling hard. Every time I go quiet is because Stephen and I have our heads down, either working on the plans to create the retreat or to create the content, to work with my cousin is in marketing comms, and she is also a yoga teacher, and she is also beautiful conscious chef and cook, but her main game is marketing communication, so I'm working with her on that. So we have many fires, many pieces of wood in the fire, paddling hard, and hoping to get things up and running. So I hope that answers your question, Bonnie. It's been, once your mission starts, there's a relentless hunger, but you are always in bliss state in the meeting the steps, the next natural step for that mission. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm seeing some comments about it. I'll go down and I'll go back up to questions. So it sounds dreamy. I will host a retreat someday. That's awesome. So we're creating the course content, and I'm looking into how do I franchise it so that the brand stays intact. The name of the course, and I've registered it, is Spirikins Alive, which is Little Spirits Coming to Life. Is an awakening course. So keep in contact if you are wanting to be a part of the Spirikins Alive brand. Being a branding consultant, I will create it in a way that can be rolled out to globally as well. And then the property, there are the courses. Spirikins Alive is the key driving course, but there is the property called Sherwood Loves as well. Bonnie says, wow, awesome. It's really fun. Okay. Let me go back to other questions. So Kim's asking, how long did it take you to get clear messages and know you were channeling? Tell us your journey to start to now. Yeah, I'm very cheeky. I mentioned, I'm always asking, if I didn't really sign up for this, can I not do this? I'm always saying that, right? So my guides, originally I thought it was my guides, but it is my higher self that's with me, that's embodied, and whenever I talk to people or help people, they do come through. I knew even before I was awakening that a very odd situation was that when there's disharmony, they would just drop me into a space amongst people, whether it's a pair or for themselves or 3-party, to counsel them, and I don't have formal counseling um, 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 certification or degrees, but I seem to be dropped in. I have had a couple, a good friend when he was 16, and now, at about 45 or so, he and his partner were having problems. Suddenly I'm traveling with both of them and counseling them, and at the time I didn't know I was actually downloading to them. I was setting up structures for their relationship working, so I'm able to set structures because I'm a framework builder. And at the end of each time when they drop me in somewhere and I'm counseling, and I counsel in such a way that it sounds like it's this formal counseling thing, because I'll get them to write the top 10 priorities on each side. I'll get them to match it up. I'll suddenly create methodologies to help people harmonize, right? So I didn't know before I was awakened that this is the other side coming through me. And I've had so many incidents of people coming to me when they're not in harmony, or when they're not in harmony with another. And I think over the course of my awakening, I get messages from strangers who are intuitive. So I decided when I just awakened, I decided to buy something on eBay. And one of the eBay sellers, I wrote to the eBay seller, it was something like $150, but I was being really cheeky. So I said, oh, could I please have it for 111.11? $111.11, please, because that's my awakening number. No, like my angel numbers or my favorite numbers. I don't know what I said, but I didn't actually give her the clue, but I said that was my favorite number. And she wrote back and she said, of course you can have it for that, but only if you can give me your email, because the other side wants to pass messages to you. And I was like, what? This is really early in the start. And she wrote me 2 pages about how I am an anchor for light, how that if people were in and around me or look at me or listen to me, that I will activate their light, that I'm bringing down light to create peace and harmony. And this phrase of peace and harmony, I have always been told, or messages would come in about this and what I do. So I was like gobsmacked. She in the heydays where she was actually an anchor light for John of God. I know that John of God is now has a problem in media and or in his life right now. But in the days when he was helping a lot of people, she was one of his anchor for light. And what she was telling me was that I am an anchor for light. So I started getting random people, intuitives, telling me that I'm meant to be bringing down light and helping people. Another message I early in the piece where I didn't know what I was meant to be doing was I was walking through an atrium, right? And in this atrium, I would, in the city, I would ask myself, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? And we ask this all the time. So in my head, I had the song, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace, right? Because that's a song that I sang when I was in church, when I was a little girl, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. And as it was going in my head, the song went, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. And then I heard, and very early in the piece, when I started hearing little words, and Make Me a Channel of Your Peace and harmony. And I was teasing whoever I thought I was talking with at the time. I said, you can't just add 2 words in a song. It's going to spoil the song. And the minute I said that, I went down an escalator and went out, and I saw a restaurant, just as within 20 seconds, a vegetarian restaurant that had peace and harmony on the as the name for the restaurant. And so I thought, oh my gosh, another message. So you get messages about who you are, what you're meant to be doing here. Sometimes the mission can be very broad, like helping anchor light and helping to bring peace and harmony to others in the way you would do things. But sometimes it can be really specific. It is finding, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You're finding pieces, right? Go by what you're really, really happy, because what you're really happy is the space that you're meant to be anyway. So I started hearing pieces of messaging coming through. But again, at the time, I didn't know that I was channeling. I knew that I was at the start, you sort of having this conversation, teasing the other side. Oh yeah, okay. And I knew that, if there was this naughty kid being pulled to what she's meant to be doing, that will be me. I'm like pulled along, and I'm like, no, don't want to do this, no, because I have a corporate life. I was consulting. I had, I was juggling so many malls. It's like, no, I can't stop that. I can't stop. But things happen. So then there was this case where they said I had an inkling that they wanted to write something. For some reason, I went to my note page on my phone and then started typing and realized, oh, I can ask a question and I seem to be able to answer it. Or at the time, I was not asking full questions. I was just letting them type little inspirational quotes. And what I was doing was that I didn't want to participate fully in this space. This was 5 years ago. But what I would do is give them this teeny tiny window to come through. And what was quite interesting was and that's all I wanted to do, and I didn't want anybody to know about it. This was a few years ago. So they started inundating me with quotes, which I've put on an Insta. There are about 150 quotes there, which are just lovely little quotes to inspire people by. And I've got another 200 in my phone, which I haven't yet put on pictures to put it out. But what I was doing was, they told me, we want you to put, they said, if you're just going to give us this little space, we're going to inundate you with it. So they started inundating me with this beautiful, inspiring quote, which I've put half of them now in Insta, Philome Gray being the name. And so I've put it out, and then I was still hiding. I didn't invite anybody in my Insta, and I also had an iPhimo Speaks on Facebook, but these are closet spaces. I didn't want anybody to be in there. But they said, well, now then we want you to get everybody in those spaces. And at that time I was going, no, I'm not going to do it. So like, I was like, I've done your job. I've written it down. I've put it up, thinking, but I'm not inviting anybody in. And so after a while I said, all right, I'll just invite the 5% that I think won't think I'm crazy. And I got them to go into my Facebook page, my other closet Facebook page. So then I started writing these small little messages, and then I started realizing that when people ask me a question, I'll be answering it, and then there's this whole blurb, and then I start using the third person. So I knew that they were talking through me now to help people, and I have random strangers always fronting up, needing help, and so I would just say, it could be there was this handyman who came to work on the place, which the real estate agent organized to come in. And just before he left, he just said something like, oh, that's a nice painting. We talked for 2 hours about his marital problems, about his marital sexual problems. And this is like someone I've never met before. And he says, oh my goodness, everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. Then he left, and he came back 3 weeks later and said, what did you do? What did you do? You did you cast spells? Because my wife and I are fine now. And I kept saying, please don't say cast spells, because if you call it cast spells, then I'm a witch. Don't say that. So I knew that I was already downloading messages for others and helping people who aren't in harmony, who don't have the peace or aren't in harmony. And the things that I seem to be sharing with them have a dose of wisdom that came from somewhere else, but also have a dose of very, very sensible 3D how to sort it out. So I'm getting the sense of, yes, I'm getting the advice, really beautiful, insightful advice, but also with a huge dose of, in a lot of my video clips, is living life more lightly and more lightheartedly. So I have that going. So then we had a family issue that we could not resolve. One of my lovely stepchild had an issue, and the four parents and the godparents did not agree to the solution of how to manage this solution for this child. And then in the shower, I heard my higher self said, we want you to go to the computer and we want you to type and step aside. So I typed 6 pages of a solution. That was the first time I've typed multiple pages. And as I'm typing, I could hear them. It went into third person. And I was going, oh my God. And they went down what the child's role was for each one of the parent. what aspect of compassion was the child teaching each one of us, why each one of us isn't stepping up to our aspect of compassion, bar one, which is the Godfather, who is this beautiful earth angel, and then the energy of his higher self came in to speak to his mom, whom he was having an issue with. So I had to write that down. As I'm writing, it's like, oh my God, there's another energy coming in. And so I realized that I could write pages, right? And very insightful things that I don't believe I was bringing down, or I don't believe Philome was writing, because it was quite inspired writing. And that was when I realized it wasn't just clear short messages. The clear short quotes was because I was only allowing them to come in that much. But then I realized if I was allowing them to come in more, they would come in more. So that was the first time I wrote 6 pages. And of course the difficulty was my Stephen and his ex-wife, and all of them were basically atheists. And I was going, how am I going to send this document out to help solve the problem for this child? The other side has come through with what this is all about. But for me, the bigger picture was, and we weren't always in good terms with the other parents, right? So, but I was thinking the bigger picture is that this child needs to be okay. So it's only my ego, if they think me crazy, they think me crazy. So I had to come out and say, with that write-up in an email, to explain I talked to the other side, and of course I'll bet there were a few eye rolls, but it doesn't really matter. The bigger picture is that the message needed to go out. So that is the start of writing the longer passages, and then suddenly I seem to be getting topics to write to and to deliver. So that is my journey. It started from giving them a little space, telling them a little insights, because that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to go into the bigger space. And now in the last year, I've started coming out in my Facebook page as to who am I, and that I connect to the other side, because all of us light workers are sprinkled around the world, away from the communities of light workers. Our community is in here, and there's a reason for it. We need to be the light worker in the space we're in, amongst the family and friends that we're in who are not awakened, and we need to light that light within them. You're right. So in my Facebook page, there are a lot of people from the spiritual space who are now my friends, but before that, the whole group, all of my family and friends are not awakened. But in the last year, I've started to come out. I've put some of my clips on YouTube because they're messages to be shared, and I'm letting people know, and continuing my counseling where people need help with. So that is my journey. It is kind of fun. The more you give time to it, this is what they want me to tell you. The more you give time to it, the bigger it'll become for you, and the more blissful you will be. So giving time to it, opening your heart to it. Don't take, they're pointing me, that long, like her, to allow for it to happen. There will be a way that, this is what they're saying, sometimes we fear going to a space, because going to a space means we think we're giving up the life that we have had. But the life that we have had is in preparation for the life that we're going to have, and everything in the life we've had that is good and that is powerful and that is empowering and that is delicious for us in that life will be carried over. They are not going to let go. They are not expecting us to let go of the things we've enjoyed. In fact, the things we enjoyed are, what they're saying, springboards for the things that we're going to do. So do not be afraid. Open up earlier rather than later, not like this one, right? Because it is going to be, and they're showing me beautifully woven in the bits you love before your awakening, before your ability to channel, and the bits you're meant to be doing will be beautifully woven in. Yeah. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Keep asking me questions about my journey. It's been fun. I do everything. I'm very playful all the time. I'm also happy almost all the time as a general rule, and I think they're okay. I procrastinate a little bit on my mission sometimes, although there's so many things going at the same time. But they're okay with that because I stay in quite high vibration all the time. And every one of us, they're trying to tell me this, every one of us that are born, we are adequate enough. Anything else we do in the mission space is a bonus. So you need to feel that our being here as a bearer of light, and then if we choose to do light work, is enough, and it's beautiful, and it's gorgeous, and it's magnificent, and we need to stay in a happy state. That alone is enough. Anything else we do beyond that is a bonus, and it's glorious, basically. So that's what they want me to say to you. Don't be afraid. Don't start setting up hurdles that you think that's what I need to do, what I need to jump over to do this work. This work comes with us being born, right? And anything else is a bonus. Let me go down. Hi, Joe. Eileen's asking if there's an unconscious pattern expressing itself, can our team help us in a tangible way? Always, in everything that we do, there is unconscious drivers as much as there is consciousness in what we know in our lives. Always ask your team to be with you. Always invite them. This is a free will zone. If you don't actually invite your team to help you with the things that you can't see or feel or sense, right? They can't come in to do that, right? So always ask them to come and help you. Set intentions and say, this is what I want, but I want you guys to be with me to help me with the things that I don't actually see or sense or feel, but we need to head to this direction. So yes, you can ask your team for help. And we are saying, can we ask our team to help in a tangible way? I find that sometimes we do too much. I think sometimes sitting back and contemplating, stilling your mind and keeping open to the help from the other side is really important, stilling yourself and listening in. So sometimes you through consciousness on the other side knows everything. So sometimes it's hard for them to know what you want to know. And so asking a question, whether it's through automatic writing or through channeling or through, before you're going in a shower, ask the question. When you're going on long drives, because these are meditative states, ask a question and you will, and keep yourself open, or I call it loosey-goosey, and the answers will come in. So yes, they can help you. They can help you in tangible ways. I get a lot of not directives, a lot of advice or insights that help me in very tangible ways. So ask away. The more you can invite and ask, the more they can come in and be with you on this journey. Yeah. So Bonnie, what if our mission is just to be and raise our own vibe, etc.? Maybe we don't have to do or be something. Exactly. That is the same message that I've just said. What we are, being here and being birthed, is enough, is adequate. Anything else we do is a bonus, right? So whatever makes you happy, a light bearer's role might be to smile all day and talk to people who feel isolated. Like you go to a supermarket and there is a checkout person that looks a little bit sadder, telling them, I once told this checkout person who was having a hard day and she had beautiful sparkles on her face. I said, I love your sparkles. And from then on, every time she sees me, her face brightens up. It takes doing just that little bit can transform a person, and that person can maybe the one that transforms many, right? Everyone starts somewhere, but they may have been touched by just one person whose life is just to make that person smile and open their hearts out. So we don't have to do big things. It's quite scary when you go into this space and you're seeing this person doing this and that person doing this. That just go by what your heart feels. And if you're happy, having coffee with friends and making them smile, that might be all we need to do. So you don't have to have a big thing. You don't have to scare yourself. Because sometimes you feel, oh, I've got to do this big thing, I've got to do this big thing, I've got to download an idea of a big thing I've got to do. And then you get yourself in your knickers in a knot and be twisted in there and go inside and be unhappy. Our first job is to be happy. Our first job is to vibrate high, right? And everything else is a bonus. So I agree with you. Just raise your vibration, touch another, surprise people. Surprising people can bring a smile to their faces. That alone is good enough, isn't it? Yeah. So keep just doing that little bit more, right? Touch another person, smile at another person. Buy someone on the street a cup of coffee. That will bring the smile on their face, or hot chocolate, whatever, right? So just be who you truly are. Be is bigger than doing. And when you're being, you will understand more clearly what you're meant to be doing, right? But don't let one take over the other. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there's any question. Janine says it sounds dreamy about the retreat. I will host retreats and I'm loving that, Janine. Awesome. Keep me posted. Thank you, Christopher. You said great vision. Kim says, I love your bubbly spirit and high vibeness. I want to be you. I have a wait. Oh, okay. There's a question. I laugh because I have a very I have a lens that's I think infused with seeing everything in a funny way. So even in my dark night of the soul, I can be laughing at something. I had quite a difficult breakup, but I can be making jokes with my ex-husband about this horrible breakup and this court case we were in. So humor helps you transmute pain, I would imagine, because humor is a really good thing to do. Not thinking about things too worthily, being more playful. The basis for my Spirikins Alive course is to awaken people to their peace and purpose, but through play. Playfulness is part of my DNA. I remember in one of my first meditations, and it was a guided meditation where I did this with Stephen, and this is really early in the piece, one of my first meditation, and they said a guide has come forward to take you to your book of life, right? And then I saw Yeshua, and Yeshua gave me his hand, and I went, oh my gosh, it must be a baggage from my Catholic upbringing. That's why I see Jesus, because I don't know more other people, but the truth is that Yeshua has been with me in a lot of my significant moments. So he took me to the book of life, and they said, let's look at your book of life, right? And the key moments of this lifetime will spring out at you. So I was in the St. John's Ambulance Brigade, and they said that was about leadership, and then I need to take leadership in the stuff I'm doing and try to unite light workers. So that's another one of my roles, to unite light workers. The second thing is that I need to keep the body fit and healthy, because I was in netball, and so a netball team, and so they said that is something you need to do, and they said go to the last page because that is your purpose. So I went to the last page, right, and Yeshua was still with me, and it says go tell the good news. This was again very early in the piece. I didn't know my mission. I didn't know I was meant to teach, and I had go tell the good news, and I had a little chuckle because again there's a very Christian reference to it. And I was a lapsed Catholic. I was going, why is Jesus coming in? Why is go tell the good news? But what was really interesting was the message was the good news is not to go through others. The good news is for everyone to connect themselves, right? To find themselves through their peace, and to find their purpose and let the purpose unfold from there. And I thought, oh, okay, so it's not you need to go through Yeshua, and Jesus was next to me to get there, because that was a very Christian go tell the good news that you have to go through Jesus. No, everyone can connect themselves was the good news. And as I was putting the book back into the Akashic Records, I saw myself in that library. I turned into Alice in Wonderland, and the message for me was, but do it in the way you would do things, which is that playful, crazy playful way that I'll do things in. So that was the message to me. And I knew from then on is that I need to create a place, or basically I need to create spaces where it's playful, we have a lot of fun, we have a lot of time, we're laughing all the time, not to have this, there are beautiful retreats that are a little bit more serious, and that's needed for the audiences that the retreats have, but my audience would want to actually just have a good time, understand the concepts, not get too serious or upset over it, enjoy the space we are in, right? So I knew that was a part of my mission, to do everything I do in this playful way. And that is a part of what, when I used to consult and create workshops for my clients, I actually hired, for one, spinning cups, right? It was a Alice in Wonderland tea party. I hired a huge hall. I hired those spinning cups for my clients. There were about 15 of us in that workshop. I hired jumping castles, and they were jumping, and they were all dressed in different characters for that workshop. And this is a business workshop, business marketing workshop. So they want me to do the same thing as I did there in here, right? And I love it. If I can bring all of that here, then that's a good thing as well. So the part two of the point that Kim is making is a question. Do you eat high vibe all the time? And what percentage on average in a week are you eating clean and high vibe foods? Okay, now this is something that's really important. I need you to see the paradigms of reality tape, because this is really important. High vibing food and clean food is really important. The body tells you what the body can take or can't take, depending on your belief structure. Sometimes fighting belief structures is actually not good, because we live in a paradigm of reality where eating clean food is important, and our subconscious have already absorbed that belief, and that belief will create your reality. That's number one. For me personally, my paradigm of belief, I am understanding, and this is my clarity of messages, that for me to unite light workers, I need to sit above, slightly, not above anyone, but sit above in my observation of these paradigms of reality, and be more accepting that different paradigms of reality have got truths within them. So you have the animal eating paradigm of reality, and they believe that that's right. You have the clean eating, non-animal eating paradigm of reality, and we believe that that is right. The minute we sit in judgment of another from what they tell me each time is where we trip up. Okay, so I know that I'm just following what my body tells me to do, right? It has now switched me off from beef and lamb, and I think it's starting to switch me off from pork. But I do eat. I don't eat 100% clean eating, because my belief, which creates my reality, is that I still can have these. I can have my Fruit Loops, and that has sugar and a lot of shit in it, because it makes me happy. My state of being is to keep myself as happy as possible all the time. So I used to think, oh my goodness, Fruit Loops, everyone in this paradigm of reality go, oh my God, Phil, there's so much shit in Fruit Loops, it's toxic, and it's not. But I used to make an exchange. I used to laugh at myself right when I used to have Fruit Loops, right about the moment I would go pick it up and eat it, and I would actually entertain people with the stuff I do. So I thought, if my vibration drops a little bit because I have some sugar, or I have something that I'm not meant to have, right? I'm making everybody laugh anyway, so the holistic vibration is going up. Okay, so on clean, do I eat high vibe food all the time? No, I don't. If I come back to Singapore and I have beautiful childhood memories about eating certain foods, right? And there's meat in it, it's not high vibe. It makes me happy to revisit my childhood memory. My number one priority is to keep myself high vibing by being happy. If I start creating, and this is me and my reality in my paradigm, if I start creating dogma in and around stuff that makes me sad, then I have undone all the stuff that I want to do to vibrate higher. And for me, this little child in me, right, and I'm very playful, this is more important in keeping happy, and I'm not trying to create dogma around me that will make this little child in me unhappy. This little child loves her freedom, right? And so I do things one step at a time. So if my stomach isn't feeling that good because I'm existing in this paradigm of reality where my subconscious has created a belief that meat isn't good for me, and so it's turning myself off from it, so I will stop that. And I know progressively I will start moving into more high vibing. Has it impacted what I'm doing? As long as I stay in high vibration, right? And if I am here, like in Singapore, and eating and having fellowship with my family, friends, and eating some meat, I seem to be able to be happy. And therefore, when I'm happy, I can still connect and bring down messages. So all of us have to, we are all sovereign beings. We need to make those choices for ourselves. But the main thing is to go within, number one. And the second thing is to keep in high vibration, which is to keep happy and joyful, right? And all the other things are in support of doing this. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing in support of doing this is linked to our belief structure. Some of it is in front of mind, a lot of it is in the back of mind. But if you are able to say, become an observer of this reality and the multiple realities that we're in, then we are negotiating in a positive way our high vibration. So I hope that answers your question. I would advise though that when we are in a paradigm of reality that have got strong views and we are happy in this, don't fight it. Don't be with it. Go with the flow is what they always say. Go with the flow of the learning of that paradigm of reality because it's easier that way. And each time we do something that paradigm believes can raise your vibration, it's almost like they show me planks, putting planks underneath you so you can go higher and higher. It's a permission to believe that you are going higher and higher and you will go higher and higher. So a lot of it is what Bashar would call permission slips, and it's beautiful to know that. And when you're in a paradigm of reality, don't fight against the thinking in there, because you're going to make yourself unhappy. If you don't have the ability to rise above and look at all of them in a more objective way, then be in it, enjoy it, accept some of it. There are also thought form energies of those thinking in and around us, and we're bumping into that all the time as well. So I hope that answers your question, Kim. I'm trying to be honest about what I do versus what people need to do if they are going through their spiritual pathing and learning, and depending on where your perspective is at, it will impact you, and not fight against thought forms or fight against big agreed thinking in a paradigm of reality by the collective of that reality. Janine says, I'm totally resonating with your lovely story. Thank you. Bonnie says, yes, laughter brings up your vibe. Yeah, no, laughter, even, if you're meditating, if you smile, you can't be unhappy, right? So if you're going in and you're meditating, just put a smile on your lips. It changes your vibration beautifully. Bonnie says, yes, I'm starting to realize I'm like that too, having a joke or play even in the most serious. It is. This is the thing we need to know, right? We've got many thousands of lifetimes. At a higher level, lifetimes are short. They're not insignificant. They're highly significant. But the pain is within a space of, there's no time, but a short timeline, right? So the whole thing is that we're here to live out a play, to learn a certain lesson, to learn a contrast in that lesson, right? So we feel a contrast, we feel that pain, we step up to it, and we expand consciousness because of that learning of that contrast. Take it as the play we've set up to get some learning. Some of it is painful, some of it is uncomfortable, but we've set it up for this learning. If you can actually become an observer of the contrast that you've set up, it is actually less painful. And if you can even have a laugh over it, it becomes less painful. Stephen, I found out that there was this really difficult situation we had 2 weeks ago, but we then felt the pain for that day, and I know the pain kept going a little bit, but we then stepped back and said, what is our higher selves putting us in this situation for, right? Something that I have an insight on that I like to share is that If we are all vibrating higher, the people that have been with us who are not vibrating higher cannot be in our space, right? For the acquaintances, when they disappear, we don't really notice. But for family and friends who are deeply intertwined with us, who need to leave because our vibration goes up, right? Unless they choose to vibrate high, there needs to be a reason why there's going to be a split up. Okay, that reason could be that there was a big debate over something, someone got hurt over something. Something needs to happen for someone who's been quite involved in your life to walk away, right? If we then fight for them to stay because their vibration is low and ours is high, if we fight for them to stay, we are bringing our vibration down to where they are at. So we need to understand that as we vibrate higher and higher, we will have people move away. The painful ones are the ones who have been in your life for some time. And it's not going to make sense, some of the fights that you're going to have. But it is something that needs to happen because they can't be in the space where you are at. And if we have that knowledge as an observer, it makes our life so much easier and better. And know that when they go, it doesn't mean they go for forever. It means they go till the time they can learn to vibrate higher and you might be in their lives again. So let divine timing take its course when it comes to how you reconnect with them. And therefore you live your life more lightly when it comes to people walking away from you. There needs to be a reason. What you don't need to do is create. There will be a pain when that split happens, but you don't have to make that ongoing suffering, right? Just accept that. Accept that better, yeah. And be an observer of that. Yeah, so thank you. I enjoyed your sharing. Thank you, Eileen. Hi, Alexandra. Nice to see you here. There was quite a few pieces of learning. If you go back to the replay, you get that. Kim said, thank you for sharing so much of you with us. No, I'm glad you're here too. They wanted me to make this one an easy peasy session. They wanted me to take questions. They wanted me to, they've been wanting me to share my history, which I haven't yet. So I might do a YouTube clip to share that and my journey itself. Hi, Norma, William. Good to see you. Hey! Norma says, we'll have to watch the replay. Fantastic. So I don't see any more questions. If anybody else have any questions, anyone else want to have a chat or want to come on or let me know how you. This is a co-creation. They're just saying to me, ask them how they want this session to go. Do they want to ask more about life as someone on a spiritual pathing, any spiritual concepts? Ask anything about how to live lighter or more lightheartedly, or come on. Does anybody want to come on? Let me check. I think there's this little symbol with 2 people on it. So I don't see anyone wanting to come on. Okay. If I see a couple of names there, but I don't like to spring on people in case they don't even have their pajamas on. So if you can write on the comment, yeah, I want to come on, I will pop you up. But let me see if there are any other messages. I think they've said shared a few insights along the way, and they're quite happy that we're just hanging. I think I've used the word activator. I don't know if you guys know what an activator is, and some of you will probably be activators too. We all are light workers, and if you Google the roles of light workers, there are about 11 sort of major roles. It's on YouTube, and some might be the protection of grid lines or the creation of grid lines. That distinct light worker roles. And when I found that topic, I found it really interesting. But one of the roles is there's one that's called a seer, which is envisioning the future and creating that future here and now. And you have an activator. An activator is that through us, we are able to activate the light within another just by being with the person or by connecting with the person, So I've used that word before, that I do activate. So just by being here, hopefully I've helped in some way. but some of you maybe it's interesting to go through that YouTube clip, because you get a sense of what the different roles are, and you can get a sense of potentially, if you're resonating with one or two of the roles, then it again gives you a little a clue as to what your potential mission is or purpose is. Oh, Bonnie just asked the question. Yeah, Bonnie's question is, how do we work out what we are? Okay, this is it is a remembering. It is a remembering. You can, so as a researcher, so let me give you as a researcher, I tend to see synchronicities and see a pattern and try to work that out. I also then, when I have readings, whether it's a Q&A type reading or a proper reading, I tend to see if there are commonalities across readings and say, well, these three people are saying this, so possibly I need to open my mind to this area. But it is all, I call it a popcorn trail, right? The more, however, that said, the more you learn to channel from the within, the more messages you will get. So as you're starting this journey of learning to channel, this is 101, try to practice more, go into 102, 103, because the more you can connect with your team, the more they can help you understand what we are. How do we work out what we are? I don't know if you're asking what we are versus as in energy being in physical form and why we're here, or you're asking what we are in terms of the purpose. I've taken this slant and answering it as what is our purpose or what is our mission. But again, the more uptight we are in trying to find that out, the more elusive it's going to be. So you've got to just stay a little bit more loose about it. Be a bit more open-minded about it. In your spiritual pathing and learn different concepts. We are constantly trying to better the lens we have in the ability to interpret what we're learning from within and what we're learning from others. The lens we have and the learning that can come from within, that can craft the lens we have. The lens we have is something that we have had through time. So as an example, our culture, our religion, or the rejection of religion itself, because we've lived through it and we say, oh, that's not for me. The people, the community we're around, the schooling we've had, all that create the lens in terms of how we interpret the messages we're getting. Now that we're awakened, our lens is starting to shift and change. In our spiritual pathing, in our spiritual inquiry, when we're learning concepts, it starts to shift and craft the lens that we should have going forward, or that we want to have going forward, to become a more and more of a clear conduit, less judgment, less dogmatic. So our lens changes along the way as we go into spiritual inquiry, which is to get learning. As that lens change, and as you're learning to channel, your channeled wisdom of yourself will also change the lens you have. So the external spiritual pathing, in terms of the spiritual inquiry, plus the internal wisdom that comes through you through channeling, will start shifting your lens. And your lens is, where as it shifts, will help you interpret more and more the synchronicities around you, as well as the wisdom that is coming through you, through other dimensional beings, or through your higher self. With that in place, with a good lens in place, you will more easily work out what you are, or what you're here to do. I don't know if that helps you, Bonnie. It is following the popcorn trail, but when your lens forms and gets better from through the awakening and spiritual inquiry, then you can actually see the popcorn trail better. It's like following the popcorn trail in night vision, but you're just given night vision glasses. Your lens changes in that way. Okay, so how do we work out what we are? And then Bonnie continued, what type of light worker? Okay, this is something that they want me to tell you. Whilst I did say go and check out the different types of light worker, those are big categories, right? It's how you resonate to them. So as I was going through the list, I sort of shortlisted. You will tick multiple because you resonate with a few, and then you start observing your life around you and the messages you're getting. But what they're wanting me to tell you is that the type of light worker is a label we put on. Everything is consciousness. But as humans, for us to survive in a 3D life and world, we tend to like to label things. And the 11 categories is a label for a type of conscious energy, which is the collective's conscious energy. So there's a collective of light workers who are doing certain things, and that is a label for them. But there are many more, right? So even though you go through the list of light worker typologies and you go, oh, I think I'm that one, or I think I'm that one, or I think that one, know that there are others, or there are mergers of different types into another, birthing of another one as well. So again, it's a popcorn trail that you have to sort of figure out is what resonates with you. What I find the best guide in terms of finding out who we are and what we're meant to do is just go by what makes you happy. You have heard this from many sages: follow your bliss, go by your highest excitement. And the thing is not to have, when you're doing that, not to have judgment or expectations about it. When you're following this path of happy, blissful excitement, you will find, and passion. What are you passionate about, right? Don't think about the light worker space. In our life up to this point, what makes you happy? What makes you excited? For me, collecting weird and wonderful eclectic things and putting it in the house in a different way, which is like decorating a house, makes me really happy. So setting up a retreat and having places to put the things I like, which is art and sculpture or fun things, makes me happy, right? So, but if I said I like collecting quirky stuff, most people say, but that is not a light worker space. But the thing is, that makes me happy. Putting it around a space makes me happy. Having people come in and enjoy the space in a way that's playful makes me happy. And that's all pointing out to the retreat that I'm setting up. And teaching makes me happy. Sharing and teaching makes me happy. So again, that's another piece of the jigsaw. So you have to work out the pieces of the jigsaw and say, what does this all mean, right? Meditation and connecting inside will help you understand who you are. And they're trying to remind me to tell you that it doesn't matter what the label is. It doesn't matter what the label is. So Kim's asking, since you brought it up, how do you live so lightheartedly all the time? Are you naturally that way? Or did you practice setting the intention each morning, or what? I think partially I'm naturally that way. I think I've got a wicked sense of humor that if something is dark happening, I can actually kind of laugh at it, because not laugh at it in a bad way, but go, oh my fucking Lord, did that just happen to me? That kind of thing, that kind of, mindset. But I think we can live a life when you understand the reason why we're here, which is we're energy beings in physical body. We're here to live a contrast. A contrast is, if we want to learn patience, we're going to be put in a space of impatience. When we want to learn empowerment, we're put in a space of disempowerment. That alone is liberating to our suffering, right? When we know that we're here for a lesson that our soul has set up, and with us, beautiful souls to come down to catalyze us into that learning, catalyze us in a space of learning for us to rise up to. Immediately we become observers of our lives. When you become an observer of your life, it's easier then to have humor about it, right? So living lightheartedly is a practice, is a personality, but it is also a practice. The series of YouTube clips that I've put out is all about living lightheartedly and also lightly. It teaches us how to focus our perspective on things and not to take it so seriously or think of a space so worthily, right? Changing the labels was one of the, changing the labels and therefore taking the winds out of the sail was a YouTube clip I've put up, which is when we see something, we label it, right, in a certain way. When you change the labels in and around that space, you can actually lighten your view on that. So have a look at the YouTube clips, Kim, because they give us different practices or different ways of, as we traipse through the minefield, of not stepping on the minefields, but also walking away or seeing it differently to live more lightheartedly. And I think the reason why they wanted in my mission to awaken people to their peace and purpose through play is, they've told me, because I've got that playful DNA in me, but is that we all understand what play is because we've been children. We may not all understand easily what joyfulness or happiness mean because it's more elusive. So go into a state of playfulness because that's what we understand, right? Where when we are in play, the resonance of play is almost as high as the resonance of joy and love, right? So get into that state because you can't be low vibrating if you are playful. That's just what they wanted me to pass on to you guys. Yes, setting an intention. They're wanting us to say we do practices to become more lighthearted, but living in the space of trying to do things rather than letting that go and being more easy about it. I think in through the clips there's always messages about be easy about it, be easy about it. Like to me, if you want to eat Fruit Loops, be easy about it, laugh at it, make fun of it. It's cool, it's not a big problem, as long as once we try not to set up too many rules and dogma about everything we do, because if we've done all of that, we get trapped up in the lack of freedom again. The basis of life for us is having the freedom to make choices. So don't take that away from yourself. So do intention setting each morning if it brings you joy and it brings you clarity. Don't do it if it's a duty that makes you uptight as you're rushing around. I've got to set this, I've got to do that. That is undoing what you're intending to do. Yeah. Bonnie says, thanks, may take a few years. The other thing is find people who are lighthearted to hang around with. I think from a few years ago, they're energy soakers and they're energy givers. Find energy givers and hang out with them. That's a quick way to do that as well. Sign yourself up to go watch comedy or go into YouTube clips and get comedy, and just enjoy that. That's another way to raise your vibration. Kim says, yes, I so get it and agree. Thanks again. You're welcome. Bonnie's asking, have we missed the official closing with Norma and William, or is it, I think is that not happening? Is that tomorrow? I just have this inkling it might be tomorrow, not today. Not sure. I'll just check the time because I think I've just monopolized your time by nattering on. Happy to natter on for the next few hours, but I think I should let you guys go. How long have I been on, honey?
It's an hour and 25.
Oh, okay. I've been on for almost 90 minutes now. I should let you guys go and check whether I don't want to trip up anything that's been booked. So maybe there is a closing. I will let you guys go. But thank you for hanging around with me. Appreciate that. And I look forward to connecting again. I'm sending you all love. Bye.